We're recording right now?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Let me start off high energy. You know what I mean? Don't talk like I'm talking right now. But I work off of y'all energy, so the more hype y'all get, the more hype I'll get. Yeah. Y'all ready?
Well, let's rock.
Let's do it. Damn.
It's like you was about to get one. That noise reminded me of like some Blank Man shit. He said, "Dude."
That was the first note from the theme song.
Ew. All right, I guess we're definitely ready. Keep all that shit.
It's your man DJ Playboy, young chick easy. I'm in the building. Back and better than ever.
I'm back and I'm better.
Nothing much, man. Chilling.
What's good?
Perfect.
Perfect Talk Podcast. We are back. Episode 4. It's been a long time. Shouldn't have left you, but it happened.
I can't say well, let's give him the background story. For those who don't know, Carmelo has officially got the side piece. He got his side pregnant, man.
It does happen, but he is married.
Yeah, she's married to Lala.
It kind of comes with the territory. You dating basketball players. I mean, you've heard the story.
That's not an excuse.
Yeah, I mean,
that's not an excuse.
we see where Chris at, man.
I don't sound like Kobe right now. But you've seen Shaq. You've seen Kobe. You've seen people get caught out there. Jordan, everybody. It's rough. I asked the last episode. You know what I mean? And I, like I said, I didn't really see. I asked what was the appeal with like Ciara dating dudes with the bad boy image, and I asked the same thing now. You know, what's the appeal of dating a basketball player? But I know the answer more with the basketball players. It's that guap, you know what I mean? And
yeah, the whole lifestyle, lifestyle is definitely different. But I mean, people make it work. Like there's definitely many of basketball players who
doing the right thing,
who haven't got their side pieces pregnant.
Yeah, at least they're smart enough to not do that.
I mean, I'm sure there's more of an allure to it though. When you look at like. For instance, like Notorious B.I.G. be like, why would you date a Playboy like that? You know, they may ask Faith that, but I heard he's a real charismatic dude. He's really smart.
You fall in love with that.
You only really know the character that you see of him on television, on social media. So totally different people.
And Lala had exposure to certain,
Before Carmelo,
she had exposure to. She has a certain network because. She's been a celebrity even before Carmelo. Before we knew about Carmelo, we knew about Lala. From MTV.
Direct effect.
Yeah, La. Yeah, so
MTV. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure the money helps because she can't date anyone broker than her. But
or can
she? She can't.
I mean, not that she can't. Yeah, I misspoke. Not that she can't, but she would tend not to date someone who's broker than her. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have a chance at Lala. So
you know, because it's the circles that people are in, right? You know what I mean? Usually people, birds of a feather usually flock together. But I also want to say this because I didn't want to put the young lady out there like that. I don't want to call her a side piece because we really don't know the full story. You know what I'm saying? So
she might be the main chick, right?
Yo, hey, spill that tea.
I'm not.
Why you made that face?
That's what I heard you say.
Play over here, spilling the tea.
Nah, but do you want to say her name or?
Oh yeah, what? Is it Mia? Maya.
M.I.A. Mia, I guess.
M.I.A.
Either way, and they have a baby girl on the way.
Nice.
Wow. Blended families are working.
It's a part that happens. Swiss and Alicia.
Yo.
Alicia Keys has a song about that on her album.
Yeah, it's called. Isn't it called Blended Family? Or Blended Love or something?
Something like that, yeah. A$AP Rocky on, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
She's talking to, like, Swiss's kids and, like, the verses. Yeah. Like,
that's I would have cited that song as a, if I was Carmelo trying to get back in there with Lala, I'd be like, listen, man, I mean, Alicia Keys is doing it. You can't do it. It's Alicia Keys.
Yeah.
Well, Alicia Keys is the side chick in that story, though. She
I guess so.
But that's the thing too. Not but the difference between those two though, Swiss weren't they going through issues though?
Yeah.
But and that's what I'm saying with Carmelo. That's why I'm, it's kind of like, well, what really happened? I mean, we don't know. I think we'll never know the real side because I feel like you got to really be in the mix and know what's up. But I mean, damn, from the outside, in which we are on the outside looking in, it's like, yo, Carmelo and Lala, you never really heard any elevator stories from them. Like, you never heard a lot of things.
There was Kevin Garnett. There was a situation. Remember, she had like
with the Cheerios, the Honey Nut Cheerios.
But they had separated for a little bit, I think, at that point.
They did?
Yeah, that's why Carmelo was so mad about that. He was like,
I didn't even know. I didn't even know that. That's news to me.
Yeah, I thought it was just
prior to that they were separated. I think they had gotten back together at that point.
Oh, see, I never even knew that.
Yeah, KG tried to like say something funny, like he smashed essentially. And
yeah, the Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah, but that's the only thing I ever heard because you know what I mean. Like you hear funny things. I don't pay that much attention to them, but that's like I said, the only thing I heard that would have been in their relationship. But you never know what's going on.
It's 2017. It's like the girlfriends or the mains, they not winning.
Yeah.
They're not winning.
And also, like, as far as the quote unquote side piece thing, giving her that title, also they were saying that she's a stripper. And I think TMZ came out saying she's a dancer, but implying that she's an exotic dancer. But I mean, some sources say that she's a social worker and that she recently got her master's from Northwestern University. So, there's that other thing about the image of the girl money chasing. They probably just had a night of fun, but, Carmelo didn't want to, his jeans was on the floor. He didn't want to reach for the rapper. So.
Maybe, and that might have happened several nights. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The imagery happens to paint a better story. I mean, the story I think came out through TMZ. But it's like when a cop shoots a black dude or something like that, then they want to bring up, well, he did smoke weed, he didn't go to school. So, because something paints a better picture. I guess to have her as a stripper, to have her as
And that's the whack part to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We really don't get that side, from the side piece.
But also, I ain't going to let her off the hook. I don't think that she didn't know who Carmelo Anthony was, and assuming that she knew that she probably knew who his wife was. And you got to take what comes with that. You know what I mean? Exactly. I'm not here to point fingers or judge anybody. Everybody does what they do. But, yeah, you gotta take it. If I were to mess with a married chick and somebody want to come press me out somewhere, I got to handle that. That's the bet I made. You know what I mean? So.
Man.
That's how I do my cardio because, I got to be able to run, man. I run this 4.6 40-yard dash, man. It ain't no joke. just for cases in which I might get into a fight.
Like, I thought I was training for the marathon. Trying to outrun these niggas.
Yeah. What do you guys think the outcome might be? Like, if you had to call it?
Separate. I don't. You can't really call it. You know what I mean? Brad and Angelina. You know what I mean? They not together. What's the other one? Ben and Jen. You know what I mean? They not together. You know what I mean? Some people work it out. Some people don't. Actually, my question more so than why the females are attracted to these dudes. I understand that 100%. So why do these dudes want to get married? Like if you were to put me at, and also have the privilege of hindsight, so everything is I'm 32 now, but if you were to put me at 18, 19, 20 years old, put me in the NBA, I don't necessarily think I'd want to get married. You know what I mean? I actually might be out here like Lou Williams. You know what I mean? Like when he was in Toronto. You know what I mean? Like and living it up, doing it up. Like I don't see the appeal to that because then. I mean, I don't know if they have a prenup or not, but if you don't, you end up paying for that in the end, you know what I mean? And for what? Like that's what I don't, and maybe Keef could answer because you're getting married soon and you might be more pro-marriage than I am, but not that I'm anti-marriage, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I'm anti-marriage too. No.
Yeah, because I hope she don't listen to the,
No. She don't even know I do.
No, I'm totally pro-marriage. I would say it sounds like your question is, why would a dude who has so much opportunity at a bunch of beautiful women, on any given night, why would they want to get married to commit themselves to one woman for the rest of their life?
Everybody's different, you know what I mean? But yeah.
To marry a person, as with any decision, it's all about one decision you make at one moment, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then the decisions that come thereafter, each morning you ask yourself, do I want to get married? But when you make the initial decision, it's kind of like, today I think I'm ready. So when I was younger, probably when I was a teenager, one of my best friends that got married young, he was about 20 years old, but he was really successful in his career. Like he was moving up and everything, and he felt like, what he said is that he felt like he was ready. He was ascending in life, and he felt he needed a partner, and he was ready to have a partner to take that ride with him. So I can see how somebody will want to get married, even though they have so many opportunities. You know what I'm saying? So I'm getting married. I'm turning 33. I'm gonna be 33 years old when I get married. You know, I still got some good years ahead of me if I were to want to be out there in the cesspool that they call single life. But, you know, I'm choosing to get married, and the hope is that I made a great decision, and I trust that I do. And I think Carmelo really thought that he did, just as with any basketball player who gets married. When you look at Steph Curry, you look at Chris Paul, you look at LeBron James, you know, as far as we can see, that a lot of them are doing it right. So, you know, unfortunately, Carmelo did it wrong. So I don't question his decision, but I do question the decision he made that morning when he said he woke up a married man and then impregnated another woman. So I think that's what it's about.
You gotta live with that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
On a different note, you know what I mean? Let's move on to your man Bill O'Reilly. He got caught out in these streets on some sexual harassment charges. He's working for Fox News, right?
He worked for Fox News.
Yeah, I'm about to say,
Yeah, he was let go.
past tense.
There seems that I think from what I see, there were a few complaints of sexual harassment in the past, and he's had to make payouts and settlements. In terms of that,
Fox News made about $13 million in settlements to women related to sexual misconduct charges with Bill O'Reilly.
Crazy payoff.
and he was able to keep his job at the time, and you know after these settlements are paid.
He went on a vacation.
Correct. Until New York Times uncovered that stuff and did their investigations and found out about the $13 million.
Oh, so it wasn't a new case?
These are old. No, these aren't new cases. This over the years, Fox News paid out $13 million to a collection of women over the years, in aggregate. Yeah,
he's being fired now because that information went public.
Correct. It's too hot. Yeah, pretty much. They tried to save him. But now
so they try to keep it suppressed, keep it on the low. But
exactly.
Now we have no choice other than we have to let you go.
Exactly.
It looks wild if we don't. I got you.
Yep.
That's easy. He got caught out there. Yeah. I heard he was trying to use the disguise of trying to give these girls guidance. So I'll teach you how to get ahead in the business, and then
Bill Cosby.
He's trying to get ahead in the pants.
Yo, that's what the bills be about. When you think about all the bills, O'Reilly, Cosby, and Clinton, they all did some sexual misconduct under the guise of guidance. You know what I'm saying? Mentorship.
I ain't putting Bill Cosby in this category, yo. I think it's too big. He is his own category. I'm doing false equivalence, but you know what I'm saying? If you in the biz and you see Bill Cosby was a god in the entertainment industry to any gender, age, race, anything. He was the man. So if you are an entertainer and you're an attractive woman, Mr. Cosby or something, then things go a little bit left. Then she didn't even know it.
Yeah, she ain't even know.
She didn't even know.
Then a couple drugs get dropped in a couple drinks. Next thing you know, your heroes are gone, man.
Now we all in the champagne.
Pudding popped.
Terrible, man.
Yeah, niche. Views of niche do not represent Perfect Talk Podcast.
Word, man. I'm trying to get a Disney deal. You out here.
Pudding pop.
Yeah, man. But Bill O'Reilly,
he got off though. He got paid. He got paid out. Basically,
and he's doing podcasts right now.
Is he? So he right back at it.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
So
that's
not on Fox. It's his own little independent.
His own thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's our competition. Fuck you, Bill.
All the bills. Except for Clinton.
That's like your man Trump out here talking about grabbing by the pussy, and you know what I mean? He's the president now. You know what I mean? He ain't served nothing for that.
Yeah.
He won the presidency off of grabbing pussy.
Grabbing by the pussy.
That's nuts, yo.
He did a speech for
Imagine if Obama did 1/100th of that. If he said, that girl over there is hot, and then people would have freaked out. He would have got impeached right that second.
Just put him on the glass.
Wait, what he said? What he said, Keef? That girl.
That girl over there, she's hot. She's hot stuff.
Don't let it be a white chick either. You know what's going on.
Oh, man. Remember when he sat next to that white lady? I forgot. It was that meme that was going around.
He was talking to her a little.
He was talking to her. It was. He was between Michelle and that white lady. And he was just talking to too much. The next thing you know, the next picture you see is they switch seats. Now Michelle's sitting between him and that same lady.
play that shit.
Listen,
yeah, man.
Michelle know the deal. Even when those pictures with Beyonce, you ever see the pictures when
Nah.
the president? You gotta pull those up. The president when Obama was like when he leaned in to give like Beyonce a hug and all of that. And you just see Michelle side eyeing and shit.
She know what she got.
Like, yo, B, I listen. Don't make me slide up in Hove DMs.
She like, you ain't fucking my shit up.
Word.
I got shit to do.
Hell yeah.
I got shit to do.
Nah, but yeah, it's just it's an interesting thing, man. When people even start talking about Trump, I try to take like several breaths, so I don't go too.
You can't get too emotional about it.
You know what it is? Not even emotional. Some things are just like you hear it's Trump talk 24/7.
Yeah,
like he's always doing some shit.
Yeah.
Had a rally last night, right?
Yo, he's always and I'm not saying he's not supposed to do things, you know, because he is the president. Even when they were talking about the whole thing with the missiles, North Korea, like we got a lot of shit going on in the U.S. and people don't even pay attention to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he says crazy shit. So
You know,
yeah, it's the throw off.
Yeah.
He's the throw off man.
And it twists it twists our perspective
Exactly.
on things because there's big things going on. You know, when you mentioned missiles and immigration
Exactly.
stuff and racism and increase in anti-Semitic stuff going on in the country, you tend to forget about that stuff because he's saying wacky shit like grabbing people by the vaginas. So.
And as like a news show, I mean, we plan out our podcast. We talk about different subjects. As a news show, they're doing the same thing. And they're like, yo, we could talk about all that wild shit, or we could just talk about this wild comment he just made. You know what I mean? And now they're dedicating half the time to his wild comments that should have been going to something else. You know what I mean? And it's the media's fault as much as anybody else for giving it so much attention. But that's the 24-hour media cycle we got.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's interesting, man.
Hey, that's why we got a podcast out here to inform y'all.
Word. Perfect talk.
You know,
What else is going on in the world?
These football players is wilding. A lot of football players just got paid because the NFL draft happened this past Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
So it went down. A lot of people got a little new money in their pockets. One of them being your man Joe Mixon, famous Oklahoma running back, famously known for punching a white girl in her face on college campus after a dispute that they got into. He was suspended for a year, and it came back and set the world on fire. You know what I mean? And made it to the NFL. Yeah. So actually, Joe Mixon got drafted by the Bengals, which isn't a bad team for him to go to because they got some wild boys over there.
Yeah, well, he could get sound mentorship from Pac-Man Jones.
He could know how to act in a strip club. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He learned how to shoot a 45. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, so to give some context to it, explain a little bit about what Joe Mixon did. I know he punched a white girl in the face, but like
all right. There was a dispute on campus. Apparently, if you see the video, you can go to YouTube or if you know what I mean, check it out. Type in Joe Mixon. Punches girl in the face, and I'm sure it'll pop up. There was a dispute that happens outside of where the camera shot is showing you. Then from the camera shot is inside. So the girl is inside the store talking with her friends, and it's a split screen. So you see Joe walk in, and the second Joe walks in, she already knows something's up because you can tell by her reaction. He walks over to her. Has some words with the guy that she's with. I think from the reports he says something like homophobic to the guy, and then at that point the girl gets really upset. I believe she calls him the N-word. They say that she hit him. If you watch the video, she does kind of like, give him a hit. And he kind of like flinches at it the first time. Kind of like he wants to do it. He thought about it. And he was like,
ooh, I would have.
Yeah. And I don't want to put thoughts in his head, but maybe that didn't get a reaction out of her enough, or maybe she just kept going.
I see. I'm going to have to slap a bit.
And whatever reason he thought about it, and
he cocked back.
Yeah, in his mind he threw a haymaker, and it was a pretty good one. I think he broke some bones in her face. She was out pretty good, and
she definitely took a nap.
And he walked out. So it happened. He got in trouble for it. I don't believe he got in any actual like jail time or anything like that, but he was suspended from the team for a year. And he had to sit it out, but then he came back. He had the opportunity to come back, and he set the world on fire. You know what I mean? Like I said, now he's on the Bengals. That girl dropped a statement recently because they settled. And you know what I mean, basically saying that her and Joe spoke. He didn't make the right decision at that time, and neither did she.
Yeah.
Now, obviously,
neither did she. With that,
she said that she was at fault as well. There was things that she could have handled better in this.
That must have been in the settlement.
Yeah.
For her to say that,
Yeah, because she dropped that the week of the draft. Basically.
So perfect timing.
Yeah. It was a kind of an exchange for an exchange thing because if you figure a settlement is kind of just you usually pay people to be quiet.
Yeah, it's the hush money.
Go away. Yeah, but he actually paid her to talk. And she made that statement, and he went in the second round, which, if you know anything about the NFL draft, the higher you go, the more you get paid. So you want to go, be one of those top picks in the first round, which he probably would have been had this not happened.
Yeah, minus that.
So, you definitely had to pay, and I'm sure he's still going to pay a little bit more.
Why does that happen so much? That's like a trend in just the community in general. When someone's on a higher status and when about to receive an award or just moving forward in their career, we pull up the most dirt we can find.
Oh, that's definitely in the NFL draft.
Yeah, especially with the athletes. Like I see it, it's so common now. There was even there was also someone I forgot who the guy name was with Lil Wayne. They were all talking about him. He just got drafted. I believe it was for football.
Okay. And
next thing you know, they were talking about how great he was, but then someone was like, "Yeah, they pulled up it was like a rape charge from a while ago."
This week.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? I forgot his name.
It wasn't a while ago, but yeah, he was charged with rape at a hotel.
Yeah.
And the girl, he wasn't arrested though. She made a police report. He was never arrested.
And the
girl went to the hospital and got a rape kit done, and I don't think they know the results, or they're just not releasing anything. But he still has not been arrested, which would lead you to believe this was kind of like a blackmail type of situation, or just to like ruin his draft status situation.
Similar thing happened to Nate Parker, the director and star of The Birth of a Nation, when they brought up his rape acquittal from when he was 19 years old in college, and the fact that one of his co-producers was actually convicted of the same crime. At the time. So a lot of people brought that up when all the press hit for The Birth of a Nation. He was trying to drum up some energy around it. People kind of countered that.
And that wasn't his first movie. He's been in stuff before.
He's been in stuff before.
Yeah, so
many of things.
But no one ever felt the need to do it because now this is his project.
Exactly.
He had the most to lose. Okay.
And a lot of people kind of tried to appeal to Gabrielle Union to I guess oppose him publicly because she's a rape survivor.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so there was that whole thing.
And my question is too for you guys: if someone has committed a crime or whatever it is that they went through, if it was acquitted, whatever, how much time before we can actually just put it to rest? You know what I'm saying? Like if you went and even if you committed it and you served time, I think that should just leave it,
Yeah, I agree.
In some situations, you may have to bring it back up, like if you child molestation, and
that's what.
Next thing you know, you working at Chuck E. Cheese or something like that. I mean, we got we got to run it, but when is enough? Like when is enough time?
Everything is I think subjective. So if my life experience, I have a kid, so I might think a child molester is definitely like the unforgivable acts. You know what I mean? A rape victim might think rape is the unforgivable act.
Exactly.
I actually don't think you should forgive either of those. You know what I mean? But some people are going to say, well, you wouldn't forgive a rapist, but you'd forgive a murderer. You'd forgive someone who took someone from this world. You know what I mean? So it's like certain things. When it comes to that, I kind of separate myself from it and feel like this society that we have is built on a justice system, and it's not the perfect system, but it's built where if you did, it's meant to be. If you did the crime, then you do the time. And then now you can try to, however you come out is how you come out, but the thought process is that you're going to come out a little bit differently, a little bit better. I give you, what I mean? We're supposed to give those people the benefit of the doubt and allow them to bounce back. So Ray Rice, you know what I mean? I felt like he punched a woman in the face, right? We knew something happened on that elevator.
And dragged her out of the elevator.
That first video that dropped was him dragging her out of the elevator. So whatever happened on that elevator, you knew it was wild already, but it was left to our imaginations to figure it out.
Yep.
So, but once we had a video, then it became 10 times worse. And I think that's just every situation is going to be different. You know what I mean? Everything is just going to be like, well, when you got video of this, it's different because we can never get that image out of our head now. You know what I mean? And like I said, I just try to personally have it as you do the crime, you do the crime. So you do the crime, you do the time. I'm a religious person, so I feel like, you ask for forgiveness, and we forgive people. If something terrible happened to me, I would hope I'd be one of those people that you see on the news that are able to forgive their attackers or the person that may have took someone from them. I'd wish to have that type of peace in life, but like I said, everything's different.
I mean, because what ends up happening is that I feel like these people, when they do live with whatever charges, it's like a reverse effect. So now they're the ones that actually end up doing more suffering than anyone. You know, like even when you take a look at the Chris Brown with Rihanna, he still goes through that. And even right now, his situation really isn't the best. I mean, they say he's a drug user, XYZ, ZYX, but
he had another girlfriend say the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Karuchi,
I mean, you know,
he beat up
his
Karuchi?
friends.
I saw a headline that there were like reports like
in the past they did say that he was a little aggressive with her, and you know,
I don't know if she actually came out and said anything.
Yeah, but you know, you see it.
She also didn't come out and say it didn't happen.
It didn't happen,
yeah,
but she did. She got the restraining order against him.
Did she have? Okay, yeah. So
he can't go within a certain amount of feet of her.
Certain things, right? Like everything's different. You know what I mean? Like if you put your hands on a woman, I don't think you should be shunned from society, and I don't think society thinks you should be shunned by society. But we ain't forgetting that.
Yeah, but we can't.
R. Kelly peed on a young lady. You know what I'm saying?
But it dried up. I mean, not.
So I guess
I'm just saying this. I'm just saying it's over. Like, no. I'm just saying, you know.
Long one today, man.
You know, we hang things over people's head, and sometimes, like, you know, they end up hanging themselves.
Like Hernadez.
God damn.
Segue. See, that's not exactly, but you know, it's sad, but it's true.
And yeah, it's. Speaking of Aaron Hernandez, he had just got off of a double murder. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not saying that he didn't do it, but I just think, you know, they didn't have enough evidence to get him with that. Did y'all hear about his suicide note?
They said there are 3 suicide notes. There's a lot of speculation about it because I guess there's little leaks from the folks who are, I guess, somehow involved in the investigation, maybe prison guards or something like that. They said one was to his fiancée. One was to someone else. And then the third one is something that's up to a lot. It was like very controversial as far as what it may be. The first thing was like to the public, to his fans, whatever. And then someone said it was to his prison boyfriend.
Yeah.
But it seems like that story, the prison boyfriend thing, is really picking up some traction because now they got a picture of a dude who it might be, and also saying that his prison boyfriend was on suicide watch after they found him dead and all that type of stuff. Yeah.
That shit is crazy.
But he didn't confess to anything in the suicide notes?
He didn't confess to anything.
Okay. Yeah, that's a crazy situation because it's and condolences to his family because I think a lot of people think of him as a monster, but his family did have to deal with losing someone, so I mean that's a serious situation. So condolences out to them. It just like Niche said, how long are we gonna hold things over someone's head? Like he was in prison, so he was gonna serve a life sentence. You know what I mean? And that's the ultimate holding something over someone's head. Like you did the crime.
Yeah,
that's the time you got to do.
And some people, even like how you said, some people aren't really sympathetic towards, like Aaron Hernandez, his family. They lost someone.
Yeah.
Now, just even on the flip side, like with Steve Stevenson, when he offed himself, the Facebook killer.
That's the homeboy that did it on tape?
Yeah. Okay. And people were talking about that too. Like, so when he shot himself, everybody was just like, yeah, I'm happy that he killed himself. Da, da, da. I'm just
Forgetting
like,
that there's people still dealing with that pain.
Yeah. It's unfair, We don't always tend to look at it.
Social media brings quite some evil out of people. It's insane. Mm-hmm. And I guess that goes right into like the social media outrage when you hear about people beefing over all the different things that's going on, beefing over Dave Chappelle or just a bunch of different stuff. So it's really interesting as far as how ugly people could become when you don't have to see them face to face.
There's always going to be a victim to something. So if in the Joe Mixon, he had a bowl game and one of the announcers was like, I hope this kid really goes on to big things. You know what I mean? He's been through a lot. I hope he's able to put that behind him and wish him nothing but the best. And he caught flack for that because it's hard. You can't look at everything from the victim's perspective. And we try to, but there's always going to be a victim to something. So there was a coach at Baylor who she's like, y'all shouldn't be afraid to send your daughters to Baylor. And just a little backstory on Baylor, they have a ton of rape cases with their football team there, to the point that some girls don't feel comfortable going to that school.
Wow.
So she was speaking to that as a basketball coach. her recruit and her money depends on girls coming to that school.
Exactly.
And she made a public statement at the middle of a game. She would send her daughters here. No girl should be afraid to come here, and she caught flack for that because that's insensitive to the victim still on campus. That you know what I mean that you're saying. So it's Keith brought up Dave Chappelle. In any comedy show, you come out there and you talk about anything. There's gonna be someone who's like, "Well, that's not funny."
Well, what happened with Chappelle?
With the rape jokes he was making, there was outrage about that.
So he made like Bill Cosby jokes saying that, like one joke pretty much said Bill Cosby raped about 50 women, but you know, like he paid for the sound system for the "I Have a Dream" speech, and like he did scholarships, he did all these things for the black community. So, but he raped 50 women, so it's like.
He trying to even it out.
Yeah, how do we regard them? Another one, he talks about a trans woman that he felt so inclined to call him or he. He refuses to call that person anything else. So there's stuff like that.
We're going to touch on that and talk about it on a later episode then, because that sounds like something that we should speak on. But yeah, like I said, there's always going to be a victim to something, man. Like, you can't be, and like he said, with social media, it's going to be a hypersensitivity to things because it's always going to be like, well, what does that mean? What are you trying to say? That doesn't agree with my views. You know what I mean? And rather than people have a real discussion, you know what I mean, and maybe sit down, talk about something, they rather tell you why they disagree with that. You know what I mean? Rather than find out why you said that, why you may feel like that, let me tell you why I think that's whack, and I think that's why it's hard for people to move ahead.
And then, you know, unfortunately, we just have those people who don't think for themselves, so they just hop on. You know,
There's that too. Yeah.
You know, so the persuasive opinions, you know, that's at an all-time high right now. So,
and that brings us to our next topic. You know what I mean? So speaking of which, coming together, maybe sit down and seeing different people's point of views, different ways of looking at life. You got the good folks over at Shea Butter wilding in these streets.
They wrong.
Wilding.
Wrong.
Oh, man. And I'm letting my shit go natural, too. I might have to find a new
Word.
Made in Tail might have to be my little endorsement deal that I get out on these streets. But, so I watched the ad. Keef and Niche actually showed me earlier, and it was kind of funny. Because once they explained it to me, when they introduced it, I'm like, yo, you know what I mean, black people just being hypersensitive, you know what I mean, you could branch out and market to different groups. And then I seen it and I started dying. I thought it was hilarious. So
yeah,
give him a little backstory on it, Keith.
So I was just about to throw it to Niche, but I'll give you what I know.
Oh, okay,
that's all good. So apparently Shea Moisture, which it's the roots of that product line, is an African American community. Okay. Essentially, people of color. They use it for their hair, their skin. Mm-hmm. People know about the allure of shea butter and cocoa butter for black people's elbows and knees and such, and it's really good for the hair. So they put out an ad.
I don't even mean to cut you off. I have a white dude that I work with at my job, and he was talking to me. He was like, "Yeah, man." He seen me using my lotion. He's like, "Yeah, you got that good shell butter." And I'm like, I'm looking at him. I was like, "You mean Shea?" He's like, "Oh yeah." Oh, he felt embarrassed.
don't tell anyone.
I'm still down.
You seen the commercials? Those working.
Yeah.
The word is spreading.
Well, yeah, darkness is spreading. I mean, so Shea Moisture has its roots in the African American community, quite like Carol's Daughter does, or Palmer's, or Nubian, the Nubian line of soaps and lotions and stuff. But they put out an ad where they feature one mixed race woman and three white women.
She was cute though, by the way, the little mixed race.
all of them were attractive women. All four of them, I believe, and they had one mixed race woman, three blonde white women, and they were kind of just talking about all the great things that Shea Moisture does for their looks and how kind of
makes them feel.
Yeah, because they have a tough time with doing their hair in the morning, and they have a tough time with going shopping and only having a small ass section to look at. Like, come on, man, and I got my fro out right now. Goddamn. I had issues this morning.
So I seen the commercial, and like I said, it was hilarious. It was kind of like, damn, they did forget they core market based. You know what I mean? And it's like you do like yeah, shit. I can't defend you on this one.
Yeah, man.
I can't defend you on this one. But I I kick it to knees. But
yeah, I mean,
how does that make you feel as a African American woman?
And being a consumer of the product, honestly, it's time to move on.
Does the product still work good though?
I mean, the product is still the product, yeah. But once you realize,
so yourself short because they made a bad marketing decision.
Yeah, they did. But there's so many other products out there, and like the thing is, I remember when I first started transitioning into natural hair and getting it all right and tight, the amount of products that were out there for hair like mine, it was hard to find. Mm-hmm. And now that more and more people are actually starting to go natural, which is great. More and more products are becoming available, which is very awesome. And, definitely if you want to make the move, there's other places, other brands to rock with. But, a lot of people were using Shea.
Okay.
And with that being said, since they excluded us, because that's what it was. It wasn't inclusion. Like they didn't.
Wait. It was a little dark skin thing at the end.
At the end for and I pointed her out to you though.
Yeah, you did. She did.
She, even
I wouldn't have seen it if y'all didn't point her out.
Yeah. It was like a little Brady Bunch square.
Yeah.
But there was like,
and she was inside of a square.
There were like 20 squares, and she had one square.
Yeah, she had one square, and then what was real, and not to take nothing against the length of her hair or anything like that, but she had a little bit of hair, and she was in the middle real quick. You know what I mean? So it was like, come on, fam.
And she walked in and they was like,
yeah. They was like, yo, all right, you know what?
Real quick.
You know what? No, we need one of you.
Come on, Keisha.
Come through. Yeah. Yo, like
But okay, just to play devil's advocate, I love y'all black people. Come on, don't flame me. But
I love y'all, but I don't love y'all.
Now, does a brand really owe any loyalty to its initial fan base? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So Michael Jordan, what up, man? Because we was buying your shit back in the day. Like, what's good? We should
man.
have cheaper prices in the hood. What's good, MJ?
Mike can't come to the cookout. He's not invited to the cookout. Ain't no Shea Butter at the cookout no more. We don't got none of that.
And then I think Shea Butter's looking at the same way like Mike is still looking at it. Like, yo, we thinking big, so we, you know what I mean? Like, either get on board or, you know what I mean? Stay where you at.
Well, Shea Moisture, there's a different kind of loyalty you owe to your people, especially with skin and hair being so important to the black people. You know what I'm saying? So Michael Jordan selling tennis shoes and T-shirts.
That's less important to the black community?
Yeah.
I hope so.
I
absolutely hope it is.
I think it is. That's what I'm saying. I hope it is too, but I'm saying I think
it is.
There's a community out there that's shooting each other for it. There's a community out there that's stealing it, risking, you know what I mean, going to jail for it.
Well, when you put it on a perspective such as that, I do see where you're coming from.
Yeah, there's people that put it on that pedestal. I don't think it should be on that pedestal. They're sneakers to me, but
also let's not put that perspective on that pedestal. Yes, this happens. They shoot each other, they fight each other.
Exactly.
People get robbed for Jordans.
That's not the norm.
But it's not the norm.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what is the norm is a black woman struggling with her hair in the morning, a young black girl struggling with her hair in the morning, older black grandmother struggling with her granddaughter's hair,
not feeling accepted,
right?
A
professional woman worrying
losing their jobs,
worried about losing their jobs or losing their jobs.
But y'all see where I'm coming from though. Like dudes is waking up Saturday morning and standing online.
Yeah, but we putting it on the other side too. We woke. Stay woke. Stay woke.
I agree with y'all. No, we on the same page with that. But so just to make sure I understand where y'all come from, y'all think a higher importance should be put on beauty products because of we're black?
No, not necessarily. The way I look at it, even how Keef was starting to mention about, the little young black girls are just being able to see someone that looks like you. Mm-hmm. It does something for you, right? And like he said, so many people struggle with beauty, especially being in, the type of world that we live in now with social media being like, one of the things is health and beauty. We always talk about that. So it's like being excluded from being accepted, it does something to you.
I agree with that 150%. I have a half African American, half Hispanic daughter, and I want her to see Dora the Explorer.
And she should.
I want her to see like Rosa Parks. I want her to see black women throughout history that have done things, Hispanic women throughout history that have done things.
Shout out to Dora. You just get
Dora because a cartoon love. She's not thinking about her. She's not thinking about it. I'm trying to be funny. I'm just saying like
that was real though.
That's what is she gonna look at? I could choose.
Yeah, between, Dora put in some work though.
Yeah, I could choose between Barbie and Care Bears, or I could throw on Doc McStuffins and Dora. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd rather her see something that looks like her because it's important to me to see things on television that look like you. I just like I said, and I think Shea went real corny with the ad. I more so blame their marketing. I think as a business, I'm just like I'm a capital. You know what I mean? I think that it's make as much money as you can.
You're capitalist.
I didn't want to finish that.
Glad
I'm a capital. Y'all niggas know what I'm saying.
I'm a race runner. I don't blame him for trying to branch out, but I just think that marketing decision was terrible. That ad could be redone, and Pepsi fell victim to the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, I think that what they were trying to do was, you know what I mean, cool. You know, maybe they just wanted to find an excuse to throw Kendall, right?
Yeah,
Kendall Jenner in the commercial. But it just wasn't done properly. It wasn't done well. It was a shitty product.
I liked Pepsi's attempt. I like the attempt. The execution was horrific. As far as your question to should beauty products be put on a certain pedestal?
Yeah.
I think so, depending on what it is that they're treating, especially with the hair, which Shea Moisture does a lot of. So I think Shea Moisture and Carol's Daughter and Nubian Heritage have a certain responsibility for how they market and how they, you know,
because they sell to those communities.
Because they sell to those communities for something that's so important.
Yeah,
you know,
they should understand the importance of it.
They should understand it, and a lot of them, you know, they were black founded.
Yeah, I was about to say that's what I was about to say. We always talk about black support black.
Been sold.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
But they're black founded. Carol's Daughter was founded by a black person. The initial investors, I believe, were Will and Jada Smith and Jay-Z. Shea Moisture was black founded, so was Nubian Heritage. You may need to fact check me on Shea Moisture, but Nubian Heritage and Carol's Daughter for sure. And it is just so important when you look at in India and the Philippines, one of the top selling beauty products is skin lightening cream. You know what I'm saying? So that's to show how important beauty is. When you look at the beauty industry in Venezuela, people are like changing their appearance, you know what I'm saying? Getting skin bleaching and putting in fake butts and all that type of stuff, which I guess one can argue is them leaning into their ethnic look. But as far as people's appearance, that's to show the kind of sway that beauty has and the kind of important that it has, especially in the black community where you need to see black faces. You know what I'm saying? Where you need to see black hair, where, you know, just years ago, I know that the natural hair is more accepted now, or more, it's more visible, more accepted, and more understood now. But imagine just 10 years ago, women were worried about putting their natural hair, wearing it to work. That's how they woke up. Remember when white bedhead was a thing? But black bedhead wasn't a thing until recently. Like you look at Jimmy Butler's hair, that's like the black version of a bedhead. And I like that now. I kind of enjoy this thing where, you know, black guys are wearing their hair in that way where it's not completely, I guess, polished, and it's a cool thing. And black women could wear their hair how they were born with it. So I think it's really cool, and I think Shea Moisture has a certain responsibility to put 3 white women and a mixed girl in it. Kind of is
irresponsible.
I wouldn't go so far as to say irresponsible, but I would say neglectful to the people who got them to where they are.
Nice.
Yeah, and just to clarify, Shea Moisture is definitely black owned, and co-founded by 2 black men.
How's Queen Helene doing in these streets? Because back in my day, I used to reach down to get that Queen Helene.
That Queen Helene, as soon as you sweat, your whole body turns into a creamy mess.
You know, they own out the community though. They probably got a little YouTube ad or something out there with some black chicks in it. They rapping.
These brands though, I mean, some of them are getting it, some of them aren't. Yeah. I mean, we've had so many mishaps, even still going on with the United airline.
With the dragging homeboy off the...
Yeah, that's still a big thing. Did you hear about Delta?
Nah.
Delta, one of the one of the employees or whatever, they were trying to break up a fight. Okay. He ended up hitting the girl.
Little girl?
Older girl.
But
he I mean, you see him, he punched her.
Yeah.
Like, not punch, but like just hit her down. So, I mean, Delta, United, who's next?
Y'all ain't supposed to be wilding on these airplanes.
I'm just saying. I mean?
The marshals could start pulling out guns. It could be a whole nother situation. So let's keep it. You know what I mean? They tell you get off that plane, you better take that voucher home.
Well, on that note, people are saying Heineken is doing it right with their public relations. as far as the ad.
Yeah.
Tell them about that. We tried to watch it. It was like a
4 minute. It's a 4 minute ad.
It turned into a movie.
Yeah. Basically, they have.
We watched the DVR version.
They pretty much had a bunch of people of different political persuasions work together on like projects or doing stuff, and they don't know that that they each had different political viewpoints. So they work together. Then I guess at the end of the commercial, they find out that they all have these different viewpoints, but they got along together very well before they knew their political viewpoints. So I guess it's to show that, people are talking past each other and being mean to each other when they don't need to. Is just because, all this divisiveness in the country and people being polarized to, their different corners. I guess having a brewski heals it. Having a lager just fixes that all up.
Fixes it all up, right?
Yeah, I mean, Obama tried that. Remember when that Harvard professor got hemmed up back in like 2009 by a cop? Oh, no. So he was trying to get into his house, and a cop was like, "You trying to break in?" I guess the house was too nice for this particular professor. His name was Henry Gates.
Okay.
And Obama's like, "Damn, y'all want to come to the White House for a beer? fix all this racial tension."
He had just the black dude come to his crib, or he
had the cop and the
cop too?
The cop and the Henry Gates Jr. He has a show on PBS. I think he does. It still does.
Okay.
Come to the White House and say, "Yeah, have a beer and let's have hash it out." And we see how that worked.
I'll be 100 with y'all though. I didn't find offense to the Pepsi ad. I thought it was done very stupid and it wasn't an intelligent way to convey their message. But I wasn't offended. It takes more to offend me, and I think that speaks to the culture that we said earlier. Like, what are y'all getting offended about? You know what I mean? I feel like, say Pepsi, this is stupid. Let them know that it was done. But people out there really offended. Like, for what? Like, if you gonna let someone's ignorance ruin your day, I can't let it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's like ignorance. I don't really think Pepsi even knew what they was doing. Like,
well, that's the thing. I feel like you have to be responsible for things like that too. Yeah. Being a big brand, and you have to make sure that the marketing is tight, because you have people who are like you who aren't as sensitive, and then you have people who are just like black, and. I mean, come on. When I looked at the Pepsi commercial, I was like, wait, who's Pepsi going to? Oh, wait a minute. I'm like, dog, he thirsty?
Well, I could see why people get sensitive about it, because it seems to trivialize something that's extremely serious.
Yeah.
People feel a way about it. People lost lives. If people felt like their own lives, anyone who looked like them, that their lives did not matter at all. So to fix it with a soda is weird.
Pop.
But I see what you're saying, that people got overly sensitive about it because they're saying that Pepsi kind of like appropriated. There's this imagery of
the girl rolling up to the cops with the flowers or whatever.
Yes, exactly. It was a black woman, and then there was like a line of cops, like the riot line, and she kind of walks up to them, and someone took that that nice wide angle shot of this going on.
What did they do to her though? Did they hem her up and throw her on the ground?
No, she just gave him the flower.
The picture I see, they look like they about to pounce on her, but I didn't think. I was like, how could they?
I forgot that's what Pepsi meant to do, was recreate.
I don't know if they meant to do that, but people were comparing
the two pictures. Like, if you would have paused the Kendall Jenner commercial and then look at that picture. I don't know what people doing now. I'm a Coca-Cola fan anyways.
I don't drink that shit. I drink Canada Dry.
I just think, like, in everything, like we say, there's going to be someone that's going to be offended by it. They're either going to be happy or sad. You can't even really, you can't please everybody. Y'all watch the show Survivor's Remorse?
Nah.
It's loosely based off of LeBron's life, but there was an episode where a darker skinned lady was in charge of the marketing for a photo shoot. And she wanted a darker skinned model, but the darker skinned model took another job. So they sent a lighter skinned model, and she took her off the photo shoot, literally because she was light skinned, and because she wanted, like you said, a representation of herself in there. And it kind of like set things back. It cost them more money, it threw everything off. But that was important to her, you know what I mean? And she couldn't really convey to everybody why it was necessary for it to happen like that. You'd have to see the episode to see.
I gotta watch that.
Yeah.
I know Kendrick Lamar in that video. I forgot for which song.
Humble.
Was it for Humble? Where I guess he had women not so dolled up, but like real women with stretch marks and stuff like that. So he tried to lean into women's beauty, but I read about there was backlash because they're like, I don't need Kendrick Lamar to defend my womanhood. I'm like, damn. I was like, shit.
Can't win.
Yeah, and it makes people afraid to touch on the subject. So I think Pepsi, I see the backlash, but you can't be knocking people so hard for making the attempt, because the way our world is, the climate of the world is that we're looking for people of great influence, like a PepsiCo, to speak to their stakeholders who,
because they got the voice. Yeah.
They have the voice. Speak for the stakeholders who don't necessarily have that voice. So companies are under pressure. So you see Silicon Valley, they're paying workers paid days to go protest Trump and stuff like that. People are leaning in to these different political causes and these different societal causes. So, I mean, that's why I have to applaud Pepsi for making the attempt, because other companies will stay far, far away. If you ask me, I think the Heineken ad was playing it super safe. They didn't mention color or nothing like that. They mentioned a few political views, but that's playing it safe. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I see what you're saying too on that whole with Pepsi actually, getting in the middle of the rope and actually trying to jump. I got you.
Yeah. I don't blame them though. I'd rather you try and fail than to not try to use your voice at all.
Exactly. And that's the part I like about it now. But I do understand the outrage. But I do really, especially as someone who appreciates comedy and appreciates art and people just going out there and trying, that was a good try. But to say that Kendall Jenner and a can of Pepsi is going to save race relations, that's a rough one.
See, but what was it intended for that? And then the other, just even coming on the other side from when we were talking earlier, is like, okay, well, how long did we be mad at Pepsi for?
Exactly, yeah.
Like they did try, they failed. How long do we be mad at them for?
You should give them another chance.
Yeah. I mean, so now, and that...
I want them to try something like that again.
And now, I ain't even going to front. I'm ready to see them come back with something dope, because now it has to be something crazy.
Yeah, they can't fail twice. Yeah. Then
look, it's just like the when we talk about the Remy Ma and Nicki. Like, now, Pepsi got to come back.
It's going to be something dope, but it's going to be something... They're going to have, like, frogs selling the soda now. You watch, man. It's gonna be something.
Gecko in their commercial.
They're gonna have a gecko and a frog freestyle rapping or something like that.
Imagine if that Pepsi commercial would have came out during Super Bowl.
Ooh.
That would have been.
Well, no, Jerry Rice had his wild commercial around the Super Bowl. He had a chicken wing rotating on a football helmet. Yo, what's going on? Like, niggas getting away with shit. Grant Hill got a Pizza Hut commercial where he wearing some damn high tops. Pizza Hut high. Come on, man. Some shit slipping through the cracks. That's what y'all should get offended about. Leave Pepsi alone.
Playboy finding it though.
Yeah. But yeah, that chicken football helmet commercial is ridiculous.
The huge biscuit. What
and I think because, I don't know, man, I just feel like people choose what to get outraged about. That commercial is far worse than a Pepsi commercial. And I know people probably roast me for that, but I'd rather this Pepsi commercial on TV than Jerry Rice eating chicken out of a football helmet.
This shit rotating.
It's rotating, son.
What's going on? Like, come on.
That was horrific. You remember all this stuff reminds me of the old McDonald's commercials when they had a bunch of all those commercials playing on BET, like the dude who got a job. Dave Chappelle did a spoof on
Calvin?
it. Yeah, Calvin. Calvin got a job. It was it's ridiculous, man. Yo,
we gotta wrap it up right there, y'all. But make sure y'all check us out. Perfect Talk Radio on Instagram. Go follow us on SoundCloud. Also, SoundCloud.com/Perfect Talk Radio.
Wait, well, real quick before we go, because you was making me think when we talk about the whole Pepsi and everything. Before we leave, no, yo, did y'all edit the joint? No, not even. Let's just keep, did y'all hear about this? It's mad quick, but the whole thing with the girl who broke into Drake's house.
No, I didn't hear about that. You breaking news.
Because it made me think about Thirsty. They was talking about the chick was wild thirsty. She broke into Drake's crib, and she didn't take anything, but she was just drinking like soda and like eating his snacks and shit.
That's the shit I be nervous about. I'd rather someone come in and take something.
They said when his peoples came back and everything, she was just in there chilling with a hoodie on and shit. Yo, but they had recently dropped the charges. I don't know exactly because I'm guessing he probably has multiple pads, but they didn't really say which one. But I'm like, damn, like she was just like low key up in there just chilling. But then the other part of me was like, what, did she really break in, or did somebody just leave her?
She thought that she could just hang out. This bitch made it through the whole security system and everything. She's like, nah,
I just thought that shit was too funny,
she got the Home Alone shit. She's hiding in the closet. She woke up like, what?
Yo, imagine coming back home and you just see somebody eating your snacks
and wearing your hoodie.
That's the most offensive part.
Yeah, just rocking his hoodie. If I came home and I see a woman wearing my Old Navy performance fleece, I see a woman wearing my performance fleece, I'm freaking out, son.
Yo, check us out on social media. Like I said, Instagram, Perfect Talk Radio, SoundCloud.com, Perfect Talk Radio. Niche, tell them where to follow you at.
Yeah. On everywhere, Graham. At Ayonish, AYONISH. Oh, and on Snap, pal Ayonish, POWAYONISH. And shout out to everybody out there with allergies.
Word.
You are not alone.
DJ Playboy on Twitter, Plickapeasy on Instagram. Where they can follow you at, Keef?
Keef.
In life.
Send that nigga a letter. And remember to get better every day, y'all. And,
send him a letter.
Say goodbye to the people, y'all.
Peace. Oh, man.